Hey guys, we're going to do something a little bit different today, and I'm going to go through a list of everyday luxury items that I do not spend my money on. And this list is going to be very personal, obviously, based on my own lifestyle and choices and that sort of thing. And I always love watching these kinds of videos because I always find it kind of interesting to see where people kind of prioritize things or deprioritize things. So this is my list. I'm also going to add one big bonus, which is my biggest regret in terms of spending money. And it's a big one. And I'd love to know if this is something that resonates with you or not, because I think it's going to be pretty polarizing. I think some people are going to be like, this is the best thing I spent my money on. Or other people might be like, I'm with you, totally understand, and maybe have the same regret. So leave your comments below and let me know what you think about this list. I'd love to know. And so let's get started. So the first thing that I don't spend my money on is on a manicure. And I know a lot of people get them on a weekly or even bi-weekly basis. I haven't gotten a manicure in probably like over 10 years. For me, it literally is watching paint dry, and I can't handle that. I also hate sitting in a salon. It's just not relaxing for me. I know some people do find that relaxing. I also work with my hands too much. So for me to not be able to use my hands for a few hours because I'm worried about like ruining the nail polish, it's just like not conducive to my lifestyle. So that is definitely something I do not indulge in. Although I probably should get manicures, because if you looked at my hands, you would probably think that they are 30 years older than my actual biological age. But the only thing I do is trim my nails because I hate long nails, and just keep them clean. Anyway, manicures is number one. Okay, so the second thing I don't spend my money on are drinks or beverages. And by that, I'm completely just a water drinker. Like I literally fill up one of these several times a day. So I don't drink soda and I don't drink juices and that sort of thing. It's not that I don't do sugar, it's that I prefer to eat my calories and drink my calories. But I also don't drink alcohol. So when I go out, I don't order alcohol, and that's for a few reasons. One is that it's very expensive. Number two is alcohol does not make me feel good. And number three, if you're Asian like me and you are 50% of the population that does not have the enzyme to break down the alcohol, then your face might get a little bit red when you have alcohol like I do. And that's called like the Asian flush. And so I don't like that feeling. I feel like it draws attention to me because sometimes, people might come up to me and be like, are you okay? And I'm like, yes, I'm fine. Just don't draw any attention to me. I'm fine. So I hate that. But also, I just don't feel like I'm someone who needs alcohol to have a good time. And as a matter of fact, I have a funny story because I had a friend several years ago. We were just becoming friends at the time. And so we went out to dinner and we were talking about something, I don't remember, but I had made some sort of passing comment where I was like, yeah, I don't need alcohol to have fun. And she looked at me and she was like, oh, that's so adorable. And it was in such a patronizing and condescending way that I was like, ew, you're such a bitch. So I was just like, I was not feeling it. Fast forward, we are actually really good friends to this day. So I did not hold that against her, but that's just a funny story. And actually many years later, I did tell her about that comment and made fun of her about it. And I was just like, you were such a bitch. And so now we laugh about it. So it's a total joke and it's totally fine. But it is true. I don't feel like I need alcohol to have a good time. So I don't know. I think that's good. So that's another luxury that I definitely don't spend money on. Okay, so the next thing I don't spend my money on that's an everyday luxury is a gym membership. And when I lived and worked in New York, I belonged to Equinox for many years and I loved it and I got a lot of value out of it. Fast forward to today, where my lifestyle has changed, I invested in a Pilates reformer. So if you've ever taken a Pilates reformer class, then you'll know how stupid expensive it can be. A lot of them, at least the ones that I've been to, the studios only offer semi-private or private classes. And those can run anywhere between $45 and upwards per class. And that's crazy. So if you're trying to get a workout in 3 days a week, that adds up very quickly and is, in my opinion, not a sustainable cost if you're making that a lifestyle. So saving on a Pilates studio membership or any kind of gym membership is something in my mind that really works for me. The byproduct of that is also that you don't feel like you have to go out and buy cute gym clothes. Sometimes you go out and you buy cute gym clothes and you're like, oh, maybe if I buy cute gym clothes, I'll work out and be more committed. But for me, that doesn't do anything for me, because for me, I like working out in the privacy of my own home in my basement by myself. And I literally just wear like a sports bra and underwear when I work out, because when I work out, whether it's a HIIT workout or whatever, I like to look in the mirror and I like to watch my fat jiggle because that's the best kind of motivation. You're like, burn, baby, burn. So that's kind of like, I don't need cute gym clothes to work out. I'd rather just look at jiggling fat. Is anyone else like that? The next thing on my list is up-to-date technology. I am not one to get a new iPhone every year that a new iPhone model comes out. I am not one to get the latest AirPod or whatever, laptop or any sort of techie thing that's the latest and greatest, because number one, I know the prices will always go down in a couple of years. And number two, I just really hate having to update things all the time and like transfer my data, and like it just becomes like too much effort, and technology never works the way it's intended. I know it's supposed to make your lives easier, and it does to an extent, but it also complicates your life because things just don't work seamlessly as it's intended to. And so that's frustrating. And so updating and upgrading all the time is just not my priority. Okay, and the fifth luxury thing that I don't spend my money on is all of those like Hulu and Paramount and all those like streaming TV apps, also cable TV. Letting go of cable TV was a little bit difficult for me because I'm someone who likes to have background noise on all the time. So if I'm doing things mindlessly around the house, cooking or cleaning or whatever, I like to have the news on in the background or that sort of thing. But I did also realize that I don't watch a hell of a lot of TV. So the only thing that I found myself watching that was on cable was reality TV, and specifically like Real Housewives of whatever franchise. But then I also did realize like watching that kind of reality trashy TV was kind of like depleting me of energy because it's such a negative space, and the catty fighting and the people who like stir the pot just to like stir shit up, like I can't handle that stuff. And I don't know if it's a product of me getting older. It's just so much negativity that taking away that kind of reality television is just much better on my mental energy. And that's really what it comes down to. And then, of course, saving a hell of a lot of money on cable TV too. So that I do think is a luxury and just something I don't need anymore. The next thing is any kind of subscription box. And that could be anything that ranges from like, those little makeup samples that you might get on a monthly basis from like Ipsy, or it could be meal prep boxes like HelloFresh. And like I've done all of those things. And what I've realized in terms of having like those little samples coming to my house every month was none of them were like extraordinary products. And I know it's nice and fun to sort of explore different brands, and that's an easy way to do it. So I completely agree. But it also accumulates just a lot of crap in your house. And even though they're like little things and little samples of makeup or whatever it might be, it's still an accumulation of crap that I don't need in my life. So I did away with that many years ago. But then like a lot of the meal subscription boxes like HelloFresh, I've done that for several months as well. And I was like, oh, this is so good. This is really going to help me out. But actually, all they do is really send you the recipe cards and the raw materials, of course, but none of it's actually prepped for you. So in other words, like I still have to chop all the onions and potatoes and big hard squashes and whatever, all the annoying things that I hate about cooking, which is the chopping and the prepping. It doesn't solve that problem for me. So these meal boxes are definitely a luxury. It saves you a trip to the market, for instance, and the brain power of thinking and planning on what you want to cook the next day or the next week. But for me, it just wasn't worth it. And the last everyday luxury item that I do not spend my money on anymore are all the fancy lotions and potions and things like that for your skin. What I have learned is that all you need to do is take a trip to the dermatologist. And if you have a specific problem, for me, it was adult acne. I just could not, I've never really had a problem with zits and pimples as a teenager, but once I hit 20, for some reason, my skin just went crazy and I would have like cystic acne and it was just disgusting. And it really affected my self-esteem, obviously. And it was actually so bad that I have done 2 rounds of Accutane. So I have done Accutane once in my mid 20s, and then I did it again once in my mid 30s. And they were for short rounds, but Accutane is quite a potent drug, and so it needs to be very closely monitored. And so I definitely felt like it helped for a little while or a few years. But then after I had kids, like my skin just went crazy again. And so here I am where I finally just committed. And so now I'm on a topical cream that I use every night or every other night, depending on how dry my skin feels. But it's a tretinoin that is prescribed by a doctor. And it is really drying, but if you just have to stay committed. And I am committed. I am doing it for the long haul. I don't care how flaky and gross my skin gets. As long as I have clear skin, I'm good. And I just slather on the moisturizer. So the only place where I spend my money on is a great SPF every day, a great nighttime moisturizer every day, and a great exfoliator. I don't spend money on all these lotions and potions that say it's going to lighten my dark spots, it's going to do this, it's going to do that. Like, I do my tretinoin and I'm good because I know it also helps with a little bit with anti-aging. It's obviously going to help with my acne and keep that at bay. And I still have the occasional breakout still, like I do, but I feel a lot better about it now than I did several years ago. So I'm committed to it. And I, as a result, don't have to spend money on these luxurious skincare things that, you know, are marketed at us all the time. And we get sucked into buying. So I know what works and I'm sticking to it. Okay, so my biggest regret, and let me know what you think. So I put this in this video because it's 100% a luxury. And what I'm talking about is having a wedding. It is a luxury because you don't have to have a wedding. And had I known that, and had I known that that was an option to me, I would not have had a wedding. Of course, the best part of a wedding is getting married to your life partner. And for me, like, of course, that's the most amazing thing in my life is my husband. He is number one in my life, 100%. So it has nothing to do with my partner and who I married. It's more of the act of the traditional marriage. And for me, I've never been someone who grew up dreaming of having this gorgeous, beautiful, amazing wedding. I just never grew up dreaming of those types of things. And so when I did get engaged, I just thought like what you do is you get married and have a wedding. And obviously it's official when you get your wedding certificate from City Hall, which is obviously what we did. But the whole wedding aspect is very optional and it is definitely a luxury because it is so expensive. And I put it in this everyday luxury category because people get married every day and, you know, people are getting engaged every day or planning a wedding every day. And if I had known that eloping was actually an option, I would have 100% done that. For my husband and I, we paid for the wedding ourselves without any kind of financial help from either of our parents. And so it gave us, I thought, a lot of freedom in terms of what we could and couldn't do and what we wanted to do. But that's not really the case, because when you're planning a wedding, there's just a lot of opinions involved, and a lot of strong opinions at that. And so it just caused a lot of stress for me personally. There was definitely a moment where I was really unhappy with this whole wedding planning process. I was not a bridezilla by any means. I just hated it. It was a grueling, yucky process that I did not enjoy at all. And I didn't even have like a humongous wedding. It was big enough. It was 100 people. I did not enjoy it. It was very, very stressful. And I'm also the type of person who really hates attention on themselves. I hated the attention. I was so uncomfortable with the attention, between the anxiety of like, oh, I hope these people are having a good time, and oh, I hate all the attention on me. It just was not an experience that I look back on fondly. So the best part of planning my wedding was picking out my wedding dress. And that makes sense because I love fashion. And if I had known that eloping was an option, I would have 100% done that. As we all know, weddings cost enormous amounts of money. And so for me, it was just not money well spent. So that is my one regret. And so if you are watching this and you are not married and may be married one day, then keep that in mind. Elopement is an option. And it may be an unpopular option, but if that's what you want to do, that's what you should do. And you live and learn. But I don't plan to get married again, so it's a moot point. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think about my biggest regret. Let me know if any of these things on my list is on your list of everyday luxury items that you choose not to spend your money on. And if you enjoyed this video, then maybe go binge watch some of my other videos, and I will see you next time. Bye.